lugar niya lumabas na tayo.
Please rise if you're able to for the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero Magahagan Guahan and the Honorable Joshua Tenor Segundo Magahagan Guahan, the Chief of Guahan. And good morning, everyone. Today truly is a Maulig Monday. You're joining us today for a signing ceremony for Bill 250-37, an act to add a new Chapter 94 to Title IX, Guam Code Annotated, relative to establishing a multi-agency unified law enforcement group, or MAULIG, for the purposes of suppressing the importation, distribution, and selling of narcotics and illicit drugs on Guam. Before we begin, of course, I want to recognize the presence of our governor and our lieutenant governor of Guam. Let's give them a round of applause. And I, of course, want to recognize the sponsors of Bill 250 and the senators who voted in favor of this legislation, starting with Senator Chris Duenas, Senator Frank Lutz Jr., who also will be joining us, Senator Dwayne St. Nicholas, is also en route. I also wanted to recognize Will Parkinson, Senator Will Parkinson, who will be joining us. I know there's no parking in the building right now, so that's great for today's turnout. I also want to recognize Senator Jesse Lujan, represented by Cecil Bambasuda, Senator Tina Marie Barnes, keep the applause coming, Senator Joseph Augustine, Senator Thomas Fisher, and Senator Amanda Shelton, all senators who voted in favor of this awesome legislation. Yes, let's give them a round of applause. I also wanted to recognize our law enforcement agencies present with us this morning, starting with Chief of Police Steve Ignacio, and Colonel Joseph Carbolito, Executive Manager for the Guam International Airport Authority, we have John Canata, and Dr. Richard Hernandez, Deputy, and Guam Customs and Quarantine, Ike Paredo, the General Manager for the Port Authority of Guam, Roger Spicio, joined by his deputies Dominic Munya and Pacifico Martir. Also from the Department of Parks and Recreation, Angel Sablon and his deputy Warren Pelletier. From Park Police, Department of Parks and Recreation with Joey Terlahi. And I also wanted to recognize Acting HSA, our Homeland Security Advisor, Acting Homeland Security Advisor Lucy Perez, and our Fusion Center representatives. So as you just see, if you're not here in person, it's a full house today. If you're joining us on our YouTube live stream, thank you so much. Without further ado, I want to give the floor now to Senator Chris Duenas for his remarks, of course, on Bill 250.
Good morning, Governor. Good morning, Lieutenant Governor. This is truly, as Crystal said, a Maulig day. I have to start by really saying, first and foremost, to the Chief of Police, to every single law enforcement entity that's represented here today. They worked very hard on this legislation. From the original draft, there was things that they saw that, while important, you know, on the social side and the other side that you're working very hard on right now for treatment and rehabilitation for those who are afflicted and trying to change their lives, which is a huge part of what we as a family and as a law enforcement family and a people of Guam need to really concentrate on. But with the mission set forth that they need to embark on and have been embarking on, it was important that they made significant amendments to the bill to refine it and to make it a tool, Governor, that they truthfully can use to move forward, not just in the effort to try to break the scourge of methamphetamine that has afflicted our people, but also to heighten our profile, Governor. I'm going to be a little bold here. I have some new staff coming on in this new term that I'm going to bring on that are going to work very hard. And it's going to be my goal and their goal to receive, and once again, apply for and receive the high intensity drug designation for Guam, to receive massive millions of dollars of funds, as well as technical support. We believe, Governor, that this tool, Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much, is going to be absolutely instrumental in filling in the gaps of the application process. We're going to work very closely with you and the Lieutenant Governor and all of the members of law enforcement to achieve this. We believe it's very achievable. We're going to go first in and scrub out what the recommendations they made to us and the letter for why the denial happened during the prior administration, and clean that up and see what we can do. But we know that this will be a significant step forward. The second thing, Governor, is of course, along with this effort, and many of you have been asking for, it's going to require resources. So we're going to have to rethink and make sure that we continue to work with the chief and all the other chiefs. They've done really good work, Governor, in terms of making the recommendations that you've heard, and in terms of raising salaries. We've probably got a few more things we can do on benefits packaged for retention and recruitment of officers to get our numbers back up, because of course this legislation calls for that too. I'm glad you and the Lieutenant Governor, joined me and others, our great co-sponsors of the legislature, in saying that Guam deserves a minimum manpower requirement. But you've done as much as you can do, really, under the leadership. There's more we need to do to attract and retain and do things to make sure that we get our officer levels up as well. Lieutenant Governor, I want to thank you in numerous occasions where you've been the lead in law enforcement promotions, as well as the governor. You've consistently supported this legislation and this effort. As we look in this room today and see every single law enforcement agency, starting with our men and women in blue, I know you, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, join me in saying we trust these guys to do their job. They are the front line. They are the people who we need every single day, every single night, 24/7, to protect us, and then now to step up the efforts to interdict this scourge of methamphetamine and other narcotics. So I'm probably being a little long-winded here, Governor, but it's just been such a hard work and haul to get here. And for you and the Lieutenant Governor to recognize the value of this effort is truly meaningful to me, and I think truly meaningful to every single one in this room and those in our community. I know that there was obviously some back and forth criticism on the floor. You've been there, you know how that works. But I want to say that, each and every one of us during this Christmas season, I would hope, would take stock of the fact that, we have differences, but when things come forward that bring us together and that have an opportunity to really make a difference, we need to set those things aside. And we need to really, hopefully in this next 2 years, we'll really work through those things and find common ground in a lot of areas where our people are relying on us, to really see through our differences and show true effort and true work with you. The legislature cannot be a place where, just trying to stop efforts that are good going forward become a higher priority of political priorities than really getting the work done. And so this, I think, is one of those examples. Hopefully it sets the example for how we set aside our differences, look for what we know can be wins, not only, for our law enforcement community, but for the people of Guam and the people we serve daily. So I think I just would have been remiss if I didn't bring that up, because I know we have a lot to work on going over the next 2 years. And friends that I've been talking to that are coming into this legislature are very ambitious and look forward to being, on the right side of getting things done that need to be done and putting aside differences that we may have. So with that, Governor, thank you for the opportunity to express my appreciation and to say that, this task force belongs to everybody here right now. As you sign this into law, this is your tool, guys. Men and women in blue throughout the entire, force. This is your baby. And I pray that you take it, run with it, and use it as an excellent tool of good to enlighten us and take our on into new heights when it comes to our law enforcement and public safety. Sizu Swasi to each and every one of you, and Merry Christmas to you as well.
Cesar Masi, Senator Duenas. I now want to give the floor to our Lieutenant Governor of Guam, Josh Tenorio.
Senator, thank you very much for your leadership on this. And I think that in just observing it, it's so interesting how an effort to unify and get something done gets, a rocky road, but that makes legislation better, and it really makes the resolve to do the right thing so much better. There is a need, of course, for the law enforcement officers to be able to rely on each other to effectively administer justice, to make sure that we get arrests and convictions, and to turn the tide around. And I believe that your leadership on this with your colleagues, Senator Nicholas and Senator Quinata, who are present with us, was able to give the government of Guam some effective tools so that we can transcend and move this island and clean it up. Thank you very much. And I do want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. I know that some of you are going to be working on Christmas Day and through the holidays. I just want to say thank you very much for all that you do, for your sacrifice. And I hope that you do get to spend some time with your family. That being said, at least you're going to get double pay on the holiday. And I hope that gives you a bit more so that you can share with your family. Si Diyos Masi.
I now want to give the floor to Governor Lulian Guerrero first for her remarks, and before she proceeds with the signing of the bill, I of course want to call up our sponsors of the bill to stand behind the governor and the chiefs of our public safety after she's done her remarks and before the signing. Governor, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Crystal, and welcome to this, I think, very significant ceremony to sign this piece of legislation that will indeed, yes, give our law enforcement officers the teeth and to make it as an official policy. In our daily business, we do have regular meetings with all of our law enforcement officers, and we discuss these kinds of issues. But setting it in policy and legislation makes it much more official and will continue on no matter which administration comes forward. I also want to say that you know, our approach in dealing with drugs is a really very comprehensive, holistic approach. We look at it as, we really look at it as a health disease. And addiction, of course, is a very difficult thing to break. And yes, we do have a lot of social programs, and they are working. We just recently met with some women that were in treatment programs, and they're very committed to trying and turn their lifestyles back into positive for their families. But it is a holistic approach, and we need to look at it from prevention from very beginning in elementary, middle school. We need to look at it as a treatment. We need to look at it as a rehabilitation process. And then, of course, law enforcement is very important to stop these drugs from coming in throughout our island, because it is a very serious epidemic, I believe. And we all know of families that have been ruined because of it, businesses that have been ruined because of it, lives that have been taken because of it, and crimes that have occurred because of it. And as a community, yes, we need to all come together. I am also very comforted, Senator, of your comments about let's put aside differences and let's all work together for the good of our people. We have tried that in the last legislature. Unfortunately, they didn't see it that way. And I'm hoping that this new legislature now will do exactly what you say. You have committed publicly, and we welcome very much your resources that we can work with to make our law enforcement stronger, giving them the resources, the people, the equipment, and the policies that they need to work from. Certainly is a refreshing, for me, a refreshing attitude. And I hope that the legislature continues with that attitude, because it's time to set things aside and work together for the good of our people. I don't care whether you are a Republican or a Democrat. What we do care about is the people. And so I welcome very much that extension of your hand and your extension of cooperation and your very refreshing attitude. And hopefully we can stop this drug and make our families better, make our families whole, and make our community a much safer place to stay. So I'm very honored and certainly very proud to sign this piece of legislation. And it's a legislation that I think allows then now and officially says that all of our law enforcement people need to come together in an official capacity and an official program, task force, so that they can share information, train each other, learn about each other, because the more information we have and the more that we can do to act on those information, the better our community would be. So again, before I sign, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and certainly to me an exciting and happy New Year. And know that our law enforcement people out there are truly supported by this administration. We don't just talk about it, but we act. And we have done many, many good things to lift up just the work environment, the respect, the dignity, the authority, and the official capacities that our law enforcement need to work for and work towards decreasing crime and making our families' lives safer and secure. So thank you for all that you do. Know that you will always be top of our priorities we have, and certainly working with the legislature is just going to move us a lot faster and better positive progress for our people. Sidus Masi, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much, Governor. With that, I want to invite our sponsors of Bill 250 to stand behind Governor, and also our chiefs and our directors for the law enforcement agencies to sign, or to stand behind our Governor for the signing. Let's give them a moment to directors, please, some of you please come to the side. There's a lot of opens.
Okay. So I am signing bill number 25037 LS, an act to add a new chapter 94 to Title IX Guam Code annotated relative to establishing a multi-agency unified law enforcement group called MALIC. And by the way, in Chamorro, that means good, great, for the purposes of suppressing the importation, distribution, and selling of narcotics and illicit drugs on Guam. And so I am signing this bill 250-37 into law and public law number 37-134. And I would like to hand this pen that I signed it with to Senator Chris Swingen.
Thank you very much. This is my second one, but I'm gonna have more next time. Thank you, Governor.
Congratulations, and this will conclude today's signing ceremony for Bill 250-37, which is now Public Law 37-134. Thank you for joining us.